Hello everybody, welcome back to another Trill Silver video, and today I'm going to be doing a Skylanders Giant tier list. I'll show a couple figures in the next video. Let's start it. First up at the start, we got Flame Arrow guy. He's bad. He's not good. His attacks are okay. His health is terrible. But his gameplay, and he's not really my favorite as well. Next up is Spyro the Dragon. Now, I have to say, he is a more or less. He is OG, but his moves are not as great, and his health. But congrats that he does have some good abilities. And he's probably the best out of the, one of the best out of his category. So, congrats. Then we have Wrecking Ball now. I am sorry. I love this guy, but he's bad. He's not good. Like, his moves are very bad, and his overall capability and he's just not as good, man. His speed is okay, but he doesn't got damage. Next up, we got Crusher. He could have been in it, but he's behind Spyro. So I had to say, yes, he's not as good. His speed is trash, and his speed is what gets him down. He could have been a very good, but his speed and overall never mind. It's just really a speed, so just more or less against Spyro. Next up, we got this guy. This guy, more or less. Now he has good moves, but anyway, his damage is terrible, man. But he's still pretty good. But he's not over Spyro Crusher by any chance. But he's over Flame Arrows and Wrecking Ball. Bad. Doesn't have the best moveset, and damage is only capable sometimes. It's not really good. But anyway, he still makes it to more or less, depending on him. Eyebrow. Now, you're getting into an OP character. This guy has a literal attack that's so good. When he takes off his eye, he literally just shoots everyone. It does not as much damage, but it kills people in seconds. And he can still move while doing it. He's also a pretty good moveset. And he's overall one of the best giants and best characters out of this entire list. Fright Rider. Bad. His moves are not as great. And also, he's just not as good, man. He's like, if I had him, like we do have him, but his health and his damage is just complete garbage. I find, you know what, because of that, I'll put him in a no, I won't. Oh, sorry. Okay, Gil Grunt. No, he's more or less. With a good move, with the right moveset, he can be very strong. His damage is terrible. His mood, and also just his health is terrible. Like, I know health is very low for these low characters, but you gotta give Gil Grunt an OG. Like, you gotta give him a little more health to freaking trigger happy. And he does, but not as much. So, yeah, he goes there. Next up is, Hot Dog. He's good. So, his attacks are does crazy amount of damage. And overall, he has good moves. His health is fine. Doesn't really bother. But he's way better than Gil Grunt. I'm sorry to say for the bad tier, man. Next up is Hothead. He's good. He has one cool move where he's a freaking motorcycle. So anyway, he has good move, good damage, good health. He's overall like Eyebrow, but less than Hot Dog, because Hot Dog's cool. Ignitor. He's good. Ignitor, he is good because he has a good, his abilities are very great responsive, and his sword can do so much damage. And how he can get out of his own body to do fire sprints. It's cool. I have the legendary version, so anyway, we'll get to the next one. OG. Javak. More or less. Now, this is a character that I wanted to put in the bad tier, but his over flaming arrows, you know what? I'm gonna upgrade this. Better than Wrecking Ball, as he's still got some more health, does like the same amount of damage, but really he's not as good as what you would think. People might be mad, but I'm putting him against Gogurt. So, Chop, you're going in the good tier. So, not against Ignitor. You're bad. So, you do really good in damage. He has a good potential because he has shield. But overall, he lacks on, like, his health. Well, like, his health is fine. He's at least better than Hothead in them, but he's nowhere close to Eyebrow, or he's ahead of Hot Dog there. He's ahead of Hot Dog. So now we have we got one of my all-time favorite characters, Prism Break. So he goes in the good tier, like ahead of Chop. I have to say, he is pretty darn good. His moves are crazy, and I like his long-range beams. Now, I also like how he's very, very good in health, and how easy it is to level him up. So, yeah, so it's like that most of the time. Now, there is one character missing on this. It's, oh no, there's not even Cam. These are all the Giants version. Okay, I forgot. So now we have not Zeus. It's Lightning Rod. He's like at the top of more or less. Now, I don't want to be rude. He'll go at the bottom. He'll go at the bottom of the good tier. His moves are great. His speed is okay, but one of his movesets are not as great as you think. And his speed lacks. He lacks on health as well. But he's not as hard to level up. But he's still pretty hard to level up. So be careful. But he is a very good character and I love him. Ninjini. The worst giant. More or less. So yeah. I don't like Ninjini's moveset. It's pretty darn bad. And like, she doesn't look as more as a giant. Not just that, it's that her health isn't as close. Well, it is pretty high. It's just her moveset isn't as strong as what I would say a good giant. So this is next. Next up is Fizz Pop. He's not bad. He's in the more or less category against Spyro. He has great movesets and you can do so many combos with him. So I forgot to tell you about combos, but most of these guys have pretty good combos. Sorry to say for you, you're not that good. So yeah, you can do good combos. But I've never said how much love I had for Fizz. I didn't really like him at start. I didn't really use him. But he's a great unit anyway, and I always love him. Zap. Zap is a great unit. I never really tried him. I don't have him. But I would say more or less tier at least. He has, I've seen him have great movesets. His health looks decent. I'm not sure of all the other things, so I'll put him in the middle of more or less. Shroom Boom. No, sorry. Shroom Boom. You're bad. You're bad, alright. So, his moveset is pretty garbage. And everything about him is fine. His health is terrible though. But for a little guy, yeah, he should be at the bottom of the bad tier. But I find he's pretty good against 4 other characters. It's basically like Gilgore. Bash. I understand you guys, but he has a great move. He could be one of the very good opportunities if he had a little more health and a little more speed. But he has great moves, okay? That's why it goes against behind eyebrow. But he can be very good. I'm telling you, he can be very, very good. So now Double Trouble. More or less. I could say Fizz Pop is lower than him. But not really anything's different. So he has okay movesets. His health is okay. His speed is okay. There's just nowhere else to put him but ahead in being the first one in the more or less category. So yeah, congrats for that. Next up, Eruptor. Yeah, just to tell you, Eruptor is insane. So he has insane moves. I find he's one of the strongest characters in this entire game. If you get him to the right skill set, he will be very, very, very strong. And his moves are dang hard to beat, as he is a crazy advantage. Just like Bash. So, yeah, he's probably the first one on this very good list. Because not all of them are like that. Slam Bam is a good. No, he's below Chop Chop. Well, he's below him. So, Slam Bam's okay. His sledding powers are amazing. And also, he does pretty good damage, but his skill set is also good. His stats are alright, and his speed is okay. Stealth Elf. Now, don't hate me for this, but I think Stealth Elf is a more or less tier. Now, I have to say, more or less for a Stealth Elf is weird, but I have not gained the power of her. Her stealthing things are fine, but it's not as good as what I thought it would be, as I thought it was going to be a lot better. But no, it don't. So, yeah. Okay, another one. Him, I forget the name. He's ahead of Hot Dog. So, he's a pretty good character. He's fine at all. But I don't really have a reason to not put him in the good tier. Unicorn Lady. Whirlwind, sorry. Whirlwind, she's good. I could say that. So, she's a good, but not really a good. She's a more or less. She's one of the least overrated. She's like underrated a bit, but her skill sets are not the same as what I thought was. So I have to say, this is my opinion, but there's only one very good right now. So stay tuned. Zook. I'll put him in, and I'm going to upgrade something. I'm going to put Bash in the very good as well. Zook's like the least. But Zook, He has good moves and stuff. He has good stats. I never really got angry, or his attacks are really good as well. Like, if I had to say, I can upgrade this list a bit. Yeah, I'll upgrade it a bit. You would go down into the bad tier because of your speed is trash. So a lot, prison, shop, trap, slam back. You would be lower, and you would be higher than Zap. So that's the upgradation. So there's only a couple more characters. Let's do it. Stomp Smash. He's an okay character. I'll say he's not better than Lightning Rod, but still better than Hot Dog and all the others, like Stealth Elf and others. There's no wrong answer to this. I would just say his moves are crazy great, and his stats are not as bad as I thought. Bouncer, one of the last giants to do, is not even on the great side. Anyway, so if I had to say Bouncer, he's good. He's at least better than Stomp Smash and Lightning Rod. His attack set is good, but his attacks don't do as much damage, and his health loses pretty quickly. And I just find his speed has to be a little faster, and his moves have to be faster. Like his rocket move. I know his pistols are fast, but not the others. Next up is this guy that I don't even know. Put him at the bottom of good tier. He looks pretty good, and I've seen in stuff, like he has some good set. You know what? I'm gonna put him behind them, putting Spyro in front of them. You would go in front of her. Zap as well, and then Ingenie at least there. So yeah, so hey, okay. So that's right now the list. Okay, next up is Chill. I'm putting you two there. These two are not are not as good. I'm serious, and I always will be serious. I found out terrible stats, terrible health, and she doesn't do as much damage as I thought she would. So I'll have to put her in very bad with Fright Rider. They're not really good. Okay, she's oops. Sea Daisy. Sorry about that. She's also a very bad character. That's what I've heard. Her attacks are not as great. Her skill set is not good. Her speed is fine. And her health is not good. I found that out, and I was terrified. I was surprised because I never used her, and I'm happy I did. But she's also, all these are good. I like all the characters. They're just some stats and stuff. Next up, Swarm. So Swarm is more or less. You want me to say that he's a good giant? He's not as good. He's at least better than Crusher. But no, he is not as good. And just to say, there's no giant very good yet. That might change though. There's only a couple, but Eyebrow is a good one. And there. Next up, we got the last three. We got Thumpback. Best of the good tier. He doesn't make it into very good because of his speed overall. His attacks are amazing. And I have to say, it's all because of speed and just overall capability. Oop. Sit daisies. Get this out of the way. Okay. So next up, we have our last one. Well, our last giant. T-Rex. Gosh, this was one of my favorite. We got the gnarly version as well. I have to say, but he goes into the very good tier. Now, he's amazing in stats. His speed is great because of his one attack. And I overall thought he was a great one. Now, he is literally the starter pack, so why wouldn't they make him as OP with a shot? Pew! Last but not least, we got Trigger Happy. You know, because of his one attack. His one attack that gets him into the very good tier, when he does his little minigun, he does a humongous blast. And overall, his speed is amazing. His health does lack, but that gets him enough into the very good tier. Now, this is my final results. Now, this is my opinion, but I have to say, if you're guys at the bottom of this list, don't worry. But I might do an upgraded version if I get enough comments to say upgraded version or another game one. So I would love you guys to subscribe and like and comment down the next Skylanders thing I should do. See ya.